Nicole, when was the last time you listened to your gut?
I always do, because we know there's a lot of misleading health advice out there, and most of what we're taught about food is wrong. Did you know that Big Food even pays TikTok influencers to say that ultra-processed foods are healthy? Well, they're not.
My God, that is shocking. It's no wonder that 1 in 8 people globally, by the way, that's over 1 billion people if you don't want to do the maths, are living with obesity.
Our sponsor Zoe understands that our health is suffering, and it's time we listened to our gut.
They make your gut health their business. And as we've learnt in over 5 years of doing this pod, gut health is key to overall health.
Your Zoe membership starts by testing your gut health, backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests. Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Listen, we know better than anyone else being in the self-care space that the start of every new year is noisy with health advice that is often just full of hot air and rubbish. But Zoe is the solution that you can trust.
Zoe is the science and nutrition company leading a movement to transform the health of millions, and Zoe membership has been proven by a randomized controlled trial, giving you the solutions to listen to your gut, make smarter food choices, and change your health for life.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to Self-Care Club, you can use the exclusive code SELFCARE10 to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's ZOE.com. Use code SELFCARE10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
It's 2025, a new year and the best time to turn your great idea into a business. Shopify is how you're going to make it happen. Let me tell you how. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and get your first sale. Get your store up and running easily with thousands of customizable templates. All you need to do is drag and drop. Their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts. Established in 2025. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/promo. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/promo to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/promo.
This episode is sponsored by Zoe. Hi Clubbers, a couple of things before we jump into this episode. Friday's show has now moved over to our subscription on Apple Podcasts.
So please subscribe to the channel for your exclusive weekly wellness roundup show and to listen ad-free on every episode of Self-Care Club and 40ish.
Just hit subscribe and you will get exclusive access to all of this content. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Self-Care Club. I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Laura Mishcon. Are we allowed to still say Happy New Year?
Well, it's mid-January.
Are we still allowed?
You can say it all year if you want. Why not?
Like if you saw someone in the street and you hadn't seen them since Christmas, would you say to them Happy New Year at this point? Or does it feel a bit like old news?
I would say it feels a bit like old news. But you can still say it because you are an adult and you can do what you want.
I'm just going to say Happy New Year to any of the clubbers who I haven't said Happy New Year to.
Oh, that's sweet.
Because, you know, it's 2025 and I want to bring the positive energy to the year. In a nice way.
Okay.
In a friendly way.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a relatable way.
That's the one.
That's what we try and do all the time, don't we? Try and be friendly and relatable and humorous sometimes. Sometimes.
Today, we are going to talk all about expectations and what expectations we have moving into the new year. Because January, it's all about the New Year's resolutions. What are your New Year's resolutions?
No one talk. Who said that to you in that voice?
I hate it.
You know what I also hate in January, and I think we say it every January. I hate social media in January.
Oh,
it is
painful.
It's pain, and I hate social media at the end of December, and I hate it in January because it is just full of this toxic positivity and just the pushing you into doing something positive and being someone else and being better and being new and just be your fucking self.
The thing is, when you go to sleep on December the 31st and you wake up on January the 1st, you're still the same person.
Well, I'm usually hungover.
Most people are usually hungover. You're not even your best self.
I'm definitely not my best self.
You're not like a great version of yourself, but you're still very much yourself.
And also, everything is still the same.
Exactly.
Why have I
the
now
same.
got to be a new you, new year, better you? Like, why have I got to move towards something that is moving away from where I am? What's wrong with where I am? Why have I always got to be going in the different direction?
It's annoying, but that's why we're going to talk about all this shit today, right?
Yeah.
Let's just like get it off the bat in January, clear the air, pave the way, make sure not everyone is feeling this pressure to be this brand spanking new, sparkly human being just because it's January.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Fuck those expectations that social media and everywhere is putting on us right now. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm slightly confused by this new energy that you're bringing to the studio today.
Are you?
I'm not hating it.
Don't say it's New Year, new me, because it's New Year, same me.
And also, like, I think I like it, but I feel a little bit scared.
Do you?
A little bit. Like,
Don't be scared.
where are we going?
It's
with
going to
this?
be just fine.
Is it?
We're going to explore if expectations are helpful. Are they ever helpful? Might they hinder you? Might they affect your mental health?
Yeah.
What even are they?
Yeah. Yeah. And how can we use them for good? And how can we understand when they're really just not helping us at all? Because we have expectations about a lot of things.
Oh, for shiz.
So what are they?
Well, at their core, they're basically beliefs or assumptions about what's going to happen in the future. They can
Yes.
be expectations about ourselves,
Yep.
expectations about others. That's definitely a big one.
Yep.
Expectations about a situation.
Yeah. Should we
How
give
it's
an
gonna be.
example?
Yeah, there
Of
are
an
loads of
expectation.
types, right? Like self-expectations.
Well, there's self-expectations, social expectations, and interpersonal expectations.
Yeah.
They sound a bit complicated.
Yeah, they
don't
do.
they?
They do.
So self-expectations are the standards that we set for ourselves.
Yes.
That's quite simple, isn't it? For example, you might be at a certain point in your work life, your professional life, or you might have an expectation that you should be able to run a 5K every day.
Oh, yeah, that.
That kind of thing.
Or you might like have an expectation of yourself. Okay, now it's January.
I have to stop drinking.
I'm not going to drink anything.
Yeah, I
till
have to be
February.
sober curious this January, or I have to, I have to drink less, or I have to change my lifestyle in
Yeah.
some way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work out that way,
No.
right? And so that expectation sometimes can have a way of us making ourselves feel bad.
Well, I think that's that ties into the whole New Year's resolution thing, because you make this resolution, this statement, and then you don't follow through, and then you feel like you're letting yourself down when actually no one's making you make it in the first place.
Well, there is a lot of societal expectation on us and societal pressure to come into the new year with a new mindset.
There is, but before we do the societal ones, let's do like self-expectations. What do you think are some expectations that you put on yourself, like now to this day?
Well, some of them are helpful and some of them aren't.
Okay.
So, for example, I like to be in the gym early and I like to be out to the gym by 8:30.
Right.
And well, I like to be out the gym by 8:20 because then I miss all the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good expectation because it gets me in early, gets me out early, and then I can just get on with my day.
But if you don't manage that,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, the dog's slow or for whatever reason you can't do
I
that.
don't take the dog to the gym.
No, I
I'd
know.
love to. I would
do.
love to take the dog to the gym.
I don't think she'd do much.
She wouldn't, would she?
She don't want to go on her walks
No.
most days.
No, bless
But
her.
let's say you don't get to do that.
Mm.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you've let yourself down?
You know what? I've actually had to work through that over the years. Like if I can't get to the gym,
Mm.
obviously I don't go to the gym every single day, but I like to go 5-6 days a week. If I can't get there, I've worked it through over the years that it's totally fine and I am absolutely relaxed and calm about it, but it wasn't always that way. So always having this expectation that I need to be in the gym
Yeah.
at a certain time
Yeah.
could put a lot of pressure on other things in my life,
Yeah.
which is not helpful.
Yeah.
So you
Of
have to
course.
be able to have flexibility.
Yeah.
What about you?
I definitely have expectations, and I kind of feel sometimes that tips into perfectionist things around everything being done in the house.
Yes. That's such a big one for you, isn't it?
It's a real thing for me.
Yeah.
I
But I think that let's talk more about it because I think it's an interesting one for you that it hinders you and it very much serves you.
it's exactly both those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I expect of myself that the house is completely sorted and all chores are done before I can start my day. So I'm talking like laundry, dishwasher, bed making, dog walking, cleaning floors, tidying up. I put that on myself. It's my own expectation. I'm not okay if I have to do stuff in the day and I can't do that first.
Okay.
When I say I'm not okay,
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
having a mentee bee.
What does that look like?
I just mean I feel unsettled,
Okay.
and I feel just that I haven't ticked that off. Like I kind of need that to be in place so I can shelve it and get on with the rest of my day.
Yeah.
It does definitely tip into a perfectionist thing.
So if it isn't done by 9:30,
Yeah.
let's say,
Yeah. There doesn't have to be a time frame on it, but it has to be done
first,
early doors before life happens.
So on Friday, we've got an early recording, and we
Yes.
never normally record that early,
Yes.
right? So this is interesting because both of our expectations are going to come up. I can't really walk the dog or go to the gym before this recording,
Yep.
right? So I've already had to mentally have a chat with myself and say, oh, you won't be here on Friday. So I've prepared my gym schedule around, so Friday's going to be my rest day.
Yeah.
So I can work that out,
Yeah.
right? But also I know that on Friday I'm going to have to walk the dog at I hate walking her at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why, I just do. I also like to get that done early.
Yeah.
So it's about refiguring my expectations around how that day is going to, it's a very small thing, but it is something that I have to kind of prepare for.
Yes. Same.
I mean, my feeling is, just to finish off the self-expectation,
Yeah.
my feeling is there's a million expectations that we're putting on ourselves that we're
yeah.
probably not even aware of.
Oh, listen, there's tons about the way you look, the way you parent, there's so much.
And a lot of self-expectations has come up for me recently because I have been struggling so much to get my HRT right.
Yeah.
And I have been feeling so not myself. I've been feeling so low and so anxious and so unable to cope in the way that I normally cope. I was still going to the gym, but anything else, I couldn't put a pair of jeans on, or I couldn't go out in the evening, or I wasn't really cooking dinner. And there was so much in that of, you should be able to do better, and you shouldn't need a nap during the day, and you shouldn't be feeling like this. And there was so much self-talk and I don't want to say self-loathing, but I really beat myself up for it, which wasn't helping.
Yeah.
Because it didn't help my hormones at all. But there's this expectation that I have to always be okay. There's that. Always.
Well, I always have to be fine, so I totally relate to that.
Yeah. But that runs in the background of everything.
Well, same with me.
Yeah. And that's not fucking helpful.
I'm never losing control of anything, and I'm never not functioning. I'm always fine, and everything around me is controlled and fine. So I also live like that.
But the thing is that no one can be fine all the time. It's not part of the human experience. Because
it's tricky.
Yeah, because being a human being means that sometimes you're not okay.
It's tricky.
And
I'll give you that.
And very much sometimes you are okay, and sometimes you're sad, and sometimes you're low, and sometimes you're really happy, or sometimes you're really angry, or sometimes you're really overwhelmed. That's just part of being human. So why we give ourselves such a hard time about it, it's about expectation.
Probably.
No,
Yeah.
It is. The expectation, especially you, the expectation that you have to always be fine. It's rough.
It's a bit rough sometimes. Most of the time, it's fine. I'm thinking about having it tattooed, to be honest.
Well, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yeah, but you know what? The more not fine I've been, I had to bend to it and give into it because I wasn't fine. I wasn't fine by any stretch of the imagination. And so it kind of made me look at it, or allowed me some space to look at, well, what does it look like if I'm not fine? And,
It didn't look great, but it was where you were at the time. There's nothing you could do about it.
But it's not meant to look great.
No, it couldn't, because it wasn't.
But I guess what I'm saying is I'm okay. It's fine by me if someone else is not fine. That's fine, because I understand that it's part of the human experience, and not everyone could be okay. And I have a lot of empathy and compassion for someone that isn't okay. But when it comes to myself, it's a very hard pill to swallow.
Oh, I feel exactly the same.
Yeah. Social expectations. It's interesting because, just to point out, that is not something you really want to go near.
What?
Conversation-wise.
What?
Not being fine.
Oh, God, no. Of course not.
Yeah, but we're talking about expectations.
Of course I don't want to go near it. Because I expect myself to be fine, and I also expect that everyone else expects me to be fine. Maybe they don't. Maybe that's just my own bullshit.
That's interesting. So you have an expectation of other people's expectations of you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
They don't, by the way. No one expects
No, they
you.
probably don't. I think that's just
Like
my own bullshit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, we all have that own built-in bullshit that we need to bring awareness to, right?
Yeah.
And you've had a couple of shitty weeks.
Yeah.
Some really shit things have happened.
Yeah.
And so if you'd have turned up not fine, that would be fine, by the way, and understandable.
Yeah. Yes. Clubbers, if you are enjoying this episode, then please could we ask that you share it with a friend?
Someone who you think would absolutely love this content, just share it. We would be so grateful. Thank you. Lauren, you know me, and you know when it comes to food, I trust my gut. And I also trust Zoe, the leading science and nutrition company.
All the nutritionists we've spoken to on this show have highlighted just how much misleading information is out there when it comes to food. Things like the claims that you see on packaging like low sugar and nothing artificial.
Yeah.
These are often actually a sign to avoid these foods. Ever noticed a health claim on fresh fruit?
No.
Well, then you get my point.
It's completely understandable why there's a lot of distrust and wondering who you should turn to for accurate information.
Well, it's simple. We use Zoe.
Backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests, Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to Self Care Club Clubbers, you can use the exclusive code SELFCARE10 at checkout to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's ZOE.com. Use code SELFCARE10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
Yeah, sure thing. Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Social expectations. Well, that's just social conditioning, isn't it? Social norms, social pressures. So think about the expectations surrounding things like marriage or your career or your success or what success looks like. What is a societal expectation on success? Parenthood, how you're supposed to parent.
Well, very different from women to men because men are not often asked, do you really want to be a dad? When are you planning on having kids? Whereas women are often asked that once they get to, 30? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Or who's looking after your kids when you're at a work event? You know, what sort of childcare do you have in place?
Oh, you're going away? Oh, who's looking after the children?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much social expectations on women to behave a certain way, especially around motherhood. Well, in absolutely anything and everything. And we were talking about, there was a piece on the news this morning about medical misogyny, wasn't there? And that women are basically expected to put up with more pain than men.
Absolutely. It's part of the female condition.
Yeah.
You'll have periods. They're going to be painful. You'll go through childbirth. It's going to be terrible. But this is what you have to go through as a woman.
And the whole medical profession is set up in that aspect.
Well, it's normal to suffer. So that's okay.
Well, women are expected to suffer.
Well, yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And then that feeds into us as our own experience of, oh, I need to put up and shut up with this. I'm actually in awful pain every month, but I just need to put up with it. And I said to you, didn't I? I said it to my daughter who was suffering with her periods for a period of time. And I said to her, you know, it's normal. You just got to get on with it. And then I went to a talk about it. And then I was like, you know what? It's not normal. I'm taking you to the doctor.
You know where I really used to notice it was when I was a doula and women were starting breastfeeding. Because for some women, not many, but for some, it's just a really easy automatic process. The baby feeds well and the mother gets it quickly. But really, it's not, it sounds so simple, but it's actually two people learning a new skill. The baby has to learn to feed and you have to learn to feed.
Yeah.
And although you're doing it every 3 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you learn quickly, but it's not always a straightforward journey. And the pressure and expectation that mothers put on themselves and that other people put on them to breastfeed, and it should just be fine. And they expect them to do it. And it's not always fine. And, you know, women very quickly with the sleep deprivation and everything else often feel like terrible failures because this very basic normal thing doesn't seem to come to them very easily. And I always remember saying to them, like, if you're okay, the baby's going to be okay. So you've tried, you've really, really, really tried. And, you know, they get help and they get lactation consultants. And I'm not saying give up because it's a little bit difficult, but also when you get to a point where you're
when you're
not
exhausted
coping,
and the baby's not thriving, then you kind of should for everyone's sake.
Yeah. It's just there's
So
a lot of expectations when it comes to that.
Are you saying that the expectation there can just really prevent you from doing what's best for you and for your baby?
Yeah, because you really also need to be sane, parenting your baby.
I think gendered expectations is like, we could do a whole podcast on its own just on that.
For sure.
Because the expectation on how Adam gets to show up versus how I get to show up in the world are completely different. And they are completely different anywhere and everywhere.
So I'll give you a really good example of that. I was on the phone to my friend a few weeks ago, who's a man, and there was quite a lot of noise. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, I'm wrapping all the presents for my staff, for the staff in my office. And I said, oh my God, why don't you just get your wife to do that? Ollie would get me to do that. And he said to me, because I'm a modern man in a modern marriage and you set up your marriage in a different way. And I thought, and he was joking and I was joking, but
then
he was totally right.
He's not though.
But he was totally right.
He wasn't really joking.
You know what I mean?
No,
he wasn't
I understand,
telling me off. But
I understand it was said in a loving, bantery way, but it's truthful.
It was totally truthful.
Yeah.
And there is, whether that is a social expectation or a societal expectation
or a gendered expectation,
I'd say very much a gendered one. But the way...
But that comes into societal, comes into social, comes into everything, doesn't it?
But the way both of us chose to set up our own household, me and Ollie chose to set up our own household at the time, and this is nearly 30 years ago, fitted into very much a gendered and societal expected role.
Yes.
So I very much take care of the house and he very much takes care of things like insurance.
Yeah.
And the gas.
Yeah.
And all the shit that I also take accountability that I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to touch that.
But there's stuff that you deal with that he doesn't want to either.
He's not interested if there's no butter left in the fridge. And I'm not interested if the price of water goes up and he's got to spend hours phoning around new water companies.
Yeah.
Like we have our very much our gender-based roles and we fulfill them.
But what's interesting now, and I often think about this, like Adam and I got married 17 years ago, right? And nearly 18 years. And we had Daisy. She's nearly she'll be 17 in a few months. So and we never discussed it either. It was just
how it panned out.
Well, it was expected. It was what was expected. Man, I hunt, I bring home food. Woman, she cares for, she cooks food. She deals with everything.
Yes.
now, if I got married now, I know I'm much older, but I do wonder if I was that same 30-year-old getting married now, would I have the conversation of, right, how's this going to run?
I don't think you'd even need to have the conversation, because I think from what I see from kids who are getting married now, it's just totally different. Just everything about the setup is different. I don't think traditional, in inverted commas, households are as common now
But they're
as
still
they were.
being raised in traditional households. Like my daughter and your sons, they're being raised in traditional households.
They are, but my sons can cook already before they've even left my house. They know how to cook.
Yes.
And one of them is like, oh, when I'm a dad, I definitely want to do the cooking in my house. Now, they've not learnt that from their dad.
It's interesting, isn't it? So so the expectations on them are different.
Definitely
Which
different.
is a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's when an expectation is helpful.
Yeah.
And that needed changing.
100%. And I expect my sons to be modern men and modern dads
Yeah.
and do 50%
Yeah.
of everything. And likewise, I sort of expect their future wives to have jobs if they want a job, or not if they don't. But,
Well,
that sort of
they
thing.
should have a job. I have an expectation on that. And I've always said that to my girls, like always be financially independent.
Yeah.
Always, always,
It's
always.
important.
Always.
Yeah.
And that's the expectation that I put on them now.
Let's talk about interpersonal expectations. Oh, these are a little bit complicated, aren't they?
Come on then.
They are assumptions that we make about how others should behave, how others should communicate or treat us in various situations. And these expectations, they vary very much depending on the nature of the relationship and the context of the interaction. So like with friendships, we often have very clear expectations of what a friend is and what a friend isn't, and how a friend should show up to us, what we
But
expect
it's
from them.
only by our own sort of moral compass and our own values and principles.
Yes.
Right. So our expectations on a friend, and I guess that comes down to things like love languages as well, doesn't it? And how you express love and show love and receive love.
Yeah.
The other person's going to have a completely different moral compass,
Yes.
completely different value
Yes.
system, completely different love language.
Yeah.
So those expectations probably aren't going to serve you all that well.
I feel like, I don't know if this is correct or not, but I kind of feel like in a sort of biblical way, I expect what I give to come back to me. Like I expect other people to behave towards me
in a biblical way.
It's like do as you should. No, because I'm thinking like do as
I
you
don't
should
know what
be
that
done.
means, but I'm like thinking some like explain.
Treat thy neighbor as my own. Do as you would be done. I expect that. I expect to be treated the way that I treat other people. And I do very much expect that. And I definitely have expectations around manners, rudeness, general, manners. I'm going to put it in that bracket. General politeness. Like just don't behave rudely or badly. I don't feel like I do, and I don't expect other people to do that either. And when they do, that is a bit jarring for me. Yeah.
I agree with that. And actually, something happened the other day. I made dinner for some people, and there was a group, and everybody the next day, and I made a really nice dinner. And I went to this fishmonger, and I spent quite a lot of money on this fish anyway. And I really sort of, you know me, when I entertain, I really like to do it as nicely as I can. And everybody on the group said thank you the next day, lovely evening. And there was one that didn't.
See, I don't like that. I think it's so rude.
I don't like that either.
It takes 10 seconds of your time to type a message to say thank you. And I would never, ever, ever go to someone's house for dinner and not thank them. Ever.
I think they thanked me that night.
Not the same.
It's not the same, is it?
I know it's really small, but it's really important to me.
It has really stayed with me.
Yep.
And I don't want it to. I want it to go away.
I'm sorry, but it does. So I had a similar-ish situation back in Christmas, just before Christmas. You know, I always have a Christmas Eve party.
Yeah.
There were 77 people invited to the Christmas Eve party.
There should have been 79, but me and Adam weren't invited.
No,
We weren't
invited. You're always NFI. No one wants you there.
We weren't invited. So. No.
Nor were you in the country. All 77 people replied, yes, please. No, thank you.
Yeah.
One person didn't reply. I sent that person a reminder.
Yeah.
Didn't reply. Then the same person appeared on a WhatsApp group with another load of my friends, just appeared out the blue. And I couldn't help myself. And I just put a message on the group saying, "Oh, you are alive then?" And they said, "Yes, I'm alive." And I put this in the group, like with everyone else in there. I just snapped. And I said, "Well, if you're alive, perhaps you could RSVP to Christmas Eve, because 77 people have managed to, and you haven't." And I was going to add, and I'm kind of done reminding you now because it's fucking rude, but I didn't say that. I left it. And they said...
Had they opened it? Because you can see on
Yes!
paperless posts.
Yes. And I even said to them, "Can I just check the correct email address
Yeah,
for you?"
okay.
And then they sent me
Listen,
the email.
when you get that... What?
And then I sent it to the same email again. It just ignored me. And then,
Again, they ignored you again
Yes!
after you asked for the correct
I sent
email.
a reminder. And then they said, "Oh, can you just be patient? I just don't really know what I'm doing yet." And I said, "I don't have a problem being patient. I have a problem being ignored. All you needed to do was send me a message to say, 'I'm not quite sure what my plans are yet. Can I let you know?'" I said, it's not that, it's just the being ignored. I said, "I don't like it." And they said, "I'm really sorry. You're quite right. I wasn't meaning to ignore you, but I should have sent you a message." I felt better after that.
Bet they didn't.
But you know what? To me, that's really rude.
I mean, I will hold my hands up and say I am terrible with email. Not our work emails. Work email, well, unless you've seen it first. But my personal email, I don't know. I never really look at it. And people always say to me, "Did you get my email? Did you get my email?" And also, there's it goes in 2 folders. So it comes in the main inbox, then it goes into another. So it doesn't always notify me when something comes in.
If you'd opened an email and you saw you were invited to something, it would be in the back of your mind to say yes, no, or just say, "Listen, I really want to come, but I just don't know if I can yet, but I'll let you know." Just that.
I would absolutely do that.
That's all.
But what I'm saying is I do miss a lot of paperless posts invites. And people often then text me saying, "Can I just check your email address?" And then but they would see I haven't opened it.
Exactly. Anyway, you know what? That wasn't very on brand for me to do that, but I just got to this point.
I mean, it really
It
isn't.
isn't, is
And
it?
you know what?
You
Very-
like it. You're loving that for me, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I'm very proud of you. I mean, it was brash, but I'm proud of you.
It's okay because the friendship still stands up.
You
despite that.
go from one extreme to another, though.
I know, you always say that.
Well, you do. You go from "No, I can't say anything," to then ripping them a new one.
But I just feel a bit like
It's like
why are you so fucking special? 77 people are able to reply to something, but you can't. You're so fucking important that you're unable to send me any sort of message. Why should I be chasing you? Come or don't come. At this point, I kind of don't care. But reply. It's rude. Anyway, whatever. There's an interpersonal expectation for you.
Did they go to the party?
Did they come to the party? Yes, they did.
Good.
It was fine.
Bet they bought you a really nice gift. So the interpersonal relationships, like we've done a whole mini series on friendship.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this chat in that mini series that we released in September.
Yes.
Was it September 2024? And I think, I mean, especially in romantic relationships, it's not just in friendships.
Oh,
The expectations on a romantic relationships
But what
is like,
expectations do you have of Adam in broad?
what, in
broad
broad,
terms?
like loyalty,
Yes.
trust,
Faithfulness?
fidelity.
Yes.
They're pretty high on the list.
Yep.
And partnership, I have a real expectation of partnership with Adam. And often when I'm not feeling like I'm in an equal partnership, it fucks me right off.
Yeah.
You?
Look, as I said before, we set it up as we set it up. Was that ideal? I'd say it probably serves him better than it serves me because there is an expectation on me to shoulder the burden of everything domestic, which I have to say I do very well. But should I have to shoulder that burden alone? Probably not. But that's sort of the expectation that we have in our relationship. And do I have equal expectations on him? Yes, I think I probably do.
Of course you do, because he's the breadwinner.
Right. So do I have yes, that's kind of just how it is. And is that changeable at this point? And would that even work if it was changed? I don't know. And I don't think I'm going to test that out so many decades in.
Well, also, if you're both happy and functioning in this relationship as it stands, then why would you even bother changing it. I mean, my expectations of Adam have definitely changed over the years.
That's interesting.
I don't think his have of me, though.
But we're also both coming to a different point in sort of family setup, as in our children are older, so the kind of parenting load or the physical burden of having small children is a lot less. You know, they're much more independent. They can travel alone. I'm definitely doing less of that, which has freed me up more.
So interestingly, yes, it has freed up my time more, but I feel like the emotional responsibility for my kids, especially my youngest one, it is more than it's ever been. She's just at that age and she's a girl and it's just different. And I feel like a lot of the time I shoulder that alone, and I have a real expectation on Adam to know what I need and be a mind reader, which he absolutely is not.
Yeah.
And for him to step in at the exact moment that I need him to, and when he doesn't, I get fucked off. Now, I'm saying this knowing that is completely unreasonable. I'm just being very honest and open.
So many people, and I don't think it's just women, so many people do that. And I also have really had to teach myself, he is not psychic. You need to tell him X, Y, Z.
Of course.
Yeah.
When I'm rational and I really like him, which I do today, so I can say those things. But when I'm not rational and I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I've had, there's a lot of mental load on me and my kids are driving me nuts and I'm stressed with work and I'm, whatever's happening, when I'm not in that space, it fucks me off that I have to then point it out to him. I know that's unfair to him. But also, we've been together for 21 years. Like, why have I still got to point this out to you? But you do.
You do.
But you do.
You do.
But also, I have an expectation. Well, I don't even think it's an expectation. Like, I don't need to point out to you emotionally what I need.
No.
Right?
But
you
I'm
just know.
But I'm not a man.
No, but
they're different.
But so that's why it's frustrating.
It is frustrating, but men can be frustrating.
Men can, and I am.
And so can women.
Equally as frustrating.
Yeah.
I'm probably more so frustrating for him. But I just do find it interesting that I definitely have more expectations on him than he has on me. Definitely. And let me tell you something. Those expectations are never helpful in a marriage. They're not. They don't bring anything useful.
I think that in most marriages there are plenty of expectations that both people have on each other.
But do you think they're good, bad, indifferent?
I think they can be hard because if the other person isn't living up to them.
But isn't that the same with any expectation?
Then someone's disappointed.
I think that's the same with any expectation. So if you don't live up to your own self-expectations,
then I'm disappointed with myself.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the difficulty with holding these expectations.
But if you don't share them, sorry, I'm going back to Christmas, but it's a very overwhelming time for many people, especially mothers and women.
Well, and we've just had it.
So there's always an expectation on me that I do all the wrapping. Now, is he incapable of wrapping? No, but it's kind of expected that I do. But also, if I am feeling frustrated / overburdened / overwhelmed, that's up to me to change that. To say, I know that it's just the norm that I do all this, but actually this year, could you help me? I can't expect him to know that for whatever reason this year, I'm suddenly finding it too much and I expect him to step in and change.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We expect them to be mind readers.
Yeah, and they're not.
And they are not.
No.
And nor should they be.
No.
It's unreasonable.
It's
and
completely unreasonable.
It's an unfair expectation to put on somebody.
Yes.
It's not on.
I agree.
I'm not saying I'm going to let go of it. I'm just saying I recognise that it's not okay.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Expectations in professional settings? Well,
Yes.
we have many of each other. No, I don't really have any of you.
Well, you do. And I do of you.
Yeah, but you uphold them, so that's not a problem.
Yeah, but I still expect them of you. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I do expect them.
What do you expect?
I expect that the shows will be edited and they will be uploaded on time, and I expect that they'll be there, and I never expect that won't happen or you'll forget but I guess more that's just I just trust you.
Yeah, it was trust in it. Yeah. Well, I have expectations that you are going to do your workload and I do my workload.
Yeah.
I also have expectations of you to be on time and come to work ready for work and be dressed appropriately
Yes.
and all of those things that, again, you uphold.
But I think we have a mutual expectation of each other, and because we work together, if essentially we are as one. So you can't let the other person down because really you're only letting yourself down. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but we generally don't.
No.
Like if you say you're going to be somewhere, I always expect you to be there.
Yeah. And I would be.
No, but you know how some friends, like you make a dinner arrangement, you just think, oh, that's not going to happen because they
Yeah.
can be a bit flaky.
That would never happen with me.
I mean, I would cancel something if I didn't feel well.
Yeah, but you wouldn't just not turn up.
Never.
Right. And neither would I.
No, you can rely on me
Yes.
as I can
We're
rely on you.
mutually reliable.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
Love
a
that
good
for us.
expectation.
Love that for us. So I think they have a lot of positives and I think they have a lot of negatives.
Agreed.
Expectations.
Yeah.
I think they can motivate you.
Mm-hmm.
They can push you forward,
Mm-hmm.
which is so great for the new year, new you situation, isn't it, clubbers? Which is, you can see how this has gone full circle now. But they can, if you have an expectation of yourself. So let's say you have an expectation this year, like everyone has, I'm going to improve my lifestyle, or I'm going to drink less, or I'm going to walk more, or, I'm going to see my friends more this year. They are good expectations to have.
Yes.
They are good for you. If it's good for you, then it's good for you.
Yeah. It provides like a framework.
A framework, a guide.
Yeah.
So I think, and also they can improve your decision making and they can help you navigate something that might be difficult because you have an expectation around it and an idea of where you want to go and where you're not willing to go.
Yes.
It can be like a boundary, I guess.
Yes. I think those are all the positives.
Yeah.
Of it. On the flip side of that, I think when what's really happening doesn't match up to your expectation, then you can get, as we said, like especially I think with romantic partners, frustrated, disappointed, let down, angry.
I actually think not just romantic partners. I think-
friendships.
And friendship. In personal relationships, family relationships, you can feel really hurt and upset.
Yeah. And same if you have very, very high expectations of yourself or other people, right? Whether that's put on you by yourself or put on you by society, then that's a lot of pressure. And then the pressure's never good.
It isn't, is
Leads
it?
to anxiety, leads to burnout, leads to all the bad things in life.
I had a situation a while ago and somebody had an expectation of me to show up in a certain way in a certain situation. I know I'm sounding really vague, but
You need to be for whatever reason. Yeah.
whatever, I'm not willing to go
Yeah.
into it, but it was very detrimental. That level of expectation, and I didn't hold the same expectation, was very detrimental to us. We've found our way through it and we're fine, but it took a long time. And I do believe that the crux of all of it was that their expectations were just misplaced.
Of you to behave or do something
In a certain way.
Right.
It was too much. Again, it comes to boundaries, doesn't it?
And
Comes back to
maybe
boundaries.
communication.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not an easy one.
And maybe, sometimes you need to have the conversation. Listen, this is what I expect of you. And if that's too much, you need to tell me because otherwise I might be disappointed.
Yeah. That is a horrible conversation to have. Well, it doesn't have to be horrible.
No, it doesn't have to be horrible.
Hard though.
Yeah.
I guess it depends who you're having it with.
And how it's framed.
Yeah. Like my daughter, she came in late last night, right? It was a school night. And I like her in, if she's going out on a school night, I like her in by 11, which I think is very generous. I mean, she's nearly 17. But you know what? She doesn't need to come in later on a school night. Anyway, it was 25 past 11 and she was not home. Now, I had an expectation of her to uphold that time and she didn't. And she has said, sorry, it won't happen again, but very flippantly. So my expectation has not really been met there. So I'm going to have to sit down and actually have a conversation with her about, I know she doesn't want to hear it and she doesn't want to be told off, but it's not okay. It's really not okay that you come in late on a school night. I'm not cool with that.
But I think, especially with children, it's very simple to have those.
Yeah, because you're the parent and they're the child. So there's it's set, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you're not happy with something, but you're allowing it, that's on you. I get annoyed when the children leave their dirty stuff by the side of the sink. And I have to say, sometimes more than once, if you've made this meal and eaten it, I expect you to clear it up. Don't expect me to have nothing better to do with my day than tidy up after you all the time. It's not okay. It's not on. Fair. You know?
Yeah. Oh, God. I mean, God, I spend my life doing that.
Don't we all?
So a couple of ways to manage expectations.
Yep.
Should we go through those quickly?
Yeah. Yes.
Set realistic goals.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that word, goals, but there's no better word to use.
Set realistic standards. It's even worse.
Set realistic
Boundaries.
Set realistic. Come on, got any more up your sleeve?
Tasks.
Intentions.
Yeah.
It's not really the same.
No. Have to stick with goals for the time being.
Okay. Instead of aiming for perfection, Lauren, you could focus on setting achievable goals, but then your goals are achievable because you achieve them every morning.
Perfectly achievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly
I guess you
achievable.
would know if it was unachievable.
I would know.
Yeah. So you can put the tasks into, I guess it depends where you're at with your expectations. If they're whipping your ass and you're feeling shit about yourself, then that's when you just need to be more realistic about what you can and cannot manage.
One job at a time, Lauren.
One job at a time, Lauren.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Communicate.
Well, as we said,
Yeah.
state your expectation.
Clear communication is obviously key. So if you have an expectation of somebody else and they are not meeting that, then just sit down, have a conversation, tell them how you're feeling and just try and get on the same page.
Yeah.
To reduce any misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Get on the same page. You could embrace flexibility. This is a good one for Lauren.
Oh, yeah.
Embrace flexibility.
Yeah.
Because life's unpredictable, isn't it?
Well, life can be unpredictable, yes.
So you could learn to adapt your expectations in response to changing circumstances. This can lead to greater resilience and satisfaction. But the thing is, you are very flexible and you are very easygoing.
I'm not rigid.
No, you're not. But you are with certain things with yourself. With
Yes.
always having to be fine, you're very rigid on.
Yes. Yes. I'm much stricter with myself than I am with everybody else.
Totally.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes it very much serves you and sometimes it
Yeah.
very much doesn't.
Agreed.
And I'm the same, by the way. I am absolutely the same. Sometimes I give myself a hard time, like when I wasn't okay last month. Well, what was the point in giving myself a hard time about it? There was nothing I could do. There wasn't nothing I could do. I was doing everything I could do. I just had to give it time.
Yes.
So that's our 2 pence worth on expectations.
I hope it's helpful.
What do you think, clubbers?
I don't know. What I think is that they should share this show with someone else who they feel has got very high expectations of themselves or others. And let them have a listen and then ask them their thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe share it with your partner. Maybe share it with your friend.
So we have an expectation that you can share this show.
Yes,
which you
our-
can.
That's our expectation.
Of you. We give you lovely content. We want something in return.
and I expect them to listen to 40ish on Thursday
Oh, yeah.
because the, January dilemmas. Ooh. People have a rough time.
They do. January is rough. I have an expectation that January is shit.
And 2 of my children are born in January. So not only do I just have to deal with Christmas, I have to go straight into 2 kids' birthdays.
That's awful. But to be honest with you, my daughter's in November, so it's the same thing.
I've got a husband in December and 2 kids in January. I mean,
It's a
the
lot.
December is his parents' fault, but the January, that's my own breeding issues.
We are going to be back on Friday with our roundup show, which is going to be sat in our subscription on Apple. So if you are not part of our subscription, we would absolutely love you to be. You get every single show ad-free. That is on Self Care Club and on 40ish.
Yep.
And you get Friday's show, which is behind that subscription now. And at Christmas, we were dropping brand new episodes in there, weren't we? Just
Oh,
for the
yeah.
subscribers,
Yeah.
like hotcakes. So you can get all of your self-care and 40-ish needs over there. Just scroll down and you'll see it on Apple Podcasts. And we will be back,
Next Monday.
Next
or if you're
Monday.
a subscriber, we'll be back on Friday.
or we'll be back on Thursday on
With
40-ish. You can't get rid of us. We'll be back next week. See you later, clubbers.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.